What's tea, y'all? I know some of you are out there right now having a hard time, having problems in your relationships, having trouble with life, or maybe you're on social media swiping and swiping, thinking, why can't that be me? Why can't I do that? Well, I'm here to let you know that you can. This is Create Your Own Story with Terrell Garnett, where we not only help you create your own story, but we let you tell yours too. Let's get into it, y'all. Today's main topic is going to be toxicity in relationships, toxic relationships. And it's going to be a two-parter, so I know that you guys are going to feel this because some of you guys are in toxic relationships. So I'm going to show you what a toxic relationship looks like, the top 10 things that you need to look out for to realize that you're in a toxic relationship. Then, on part 2, I'm going to show you how to turn that around and how to change your toxic relationship into being something healthy. Because not all relationships need to be ended if the relationship is, toxic.
Damn right we take turns being wrong. I get real accountable when I'm alone. I get real about it all when I'm alone. It's so crazy missing you when I get on. Down Julio make me Popio. And I might hit your phone up with that bye bye bye. Listen my da da da. Listen that All of this love is toxic. All of this love is toxic. All these kisses and hugs and knock shit. You a damn drug, you toxic.
When you get into a relationship, whether it's romantic or platonic, you think that it's going to bring you so much happiness. Now, many people go into relationships thinking that it's going to make them unhappy. I pretty much believe we can all agree on that. Unfortunately, though, there are many relationships in the world that are very unhealthy. In fact, you can call them downright, yeah, you guessed it, y'all, toxic. Now, let's break down the word toxic. It means poisonous. It means detrimental to your health, hazardous, potentially deadly. Usually, we use that word to describe things other than people that could be potentially killing us. Rat poison, hard drugs, too much alcohol, smoking, unhealthy eating, carbon monoxide, etc. I believe you guys get my point. However, people and relationships can be just as dangerous to your well-being as any of those things that I listed. The problem is that it's not as easy to identify the toxicity when it comes to a person. So that's why I'm here. Let's begin by talking about how to recognize the signs of a toxic relationship. Some people grow up in toxic families. Maybe there was a verbal, emotional, or even physical abuse. Whether it's between parents or between the parent and the children, it's still an unhealthy and toxic environment to grow up in. If someone is from a family such as this, perhaps they will not even recognize if and when they are in a toxic relationship. If you're not sure why you continuously enter toxic relationships, then this is the podcast for you. Here are some signs of a toxic relationship. 1. One gives, the other takes. One-sided relationships are never healthy. Many times you will have a narcissist or a people pleaser dynamic in a toxic relationship, especially if it's a romantic one. This also happens in friendships as well. One person gives and gives and gives, hoping to make the narcissist happy, but it just never works out. They just take and take and take, and then the relationship is much too lopsided and unhealthy. 2. gaslighting. I know this is a new term for some of y'all. It's been coming up a lot, but we're going to break this down. Gaslighting is another common characteristic of a toxic relationship. If you're not familiar with the term, it is when someone manipulates another person to a point where the person questions their sanity. For example, here we go. Yeah, we got sometimes we gotta give y'all some examples. Perhaps the last time you saw your significant other, you both agreed to go, let's say, to the zoo on a Sunday. However, when you bring it up later to confirm your plans, the person says, I never said I wanted to go to the zoo. I don't even like the zoo. It leaves the other person wondering about themselves. When this is a habit in a relationship, it can turn toxic. 3. Lack of personal responsibility. If one or both people are constantly blaming the other person for anything and everything, then that is definitely a sign of a toxic relationship. As the saying goes, it takes two to tango. I know we've all heard that. Both people are responsible for their own behaviors, and the other can't make you do anything. And I mean that. A lot of times we try to blame each other like, well, if it wasn't for you doing this, then I wouldn't have done that. But come on, y'all. You got to take responsibility for your own behaviors. Therefore, playing a victim of the other person's behavior is not productive, and it just leads to an unhealthy relationship. 4. Lack of trust. In a toxic relationship, there will not be much trust. It could be that neither trusts the other, or it could be one-sided. Either way, the lack of trust acts like a poison in the relationship. Trust should be the foundation that any relationship is built upon. Without it, it's like trying to build a house on let's say, quicksand. It's never going to work, y'all. 5. A feeling of walking on eggshells. Maybe it feels like you never know if the other person is going to explode. There might be tempers, raging, and because of that, you feel like you have to tiptoe around the person so that they don't get angry. 6. Disrespect. Disrespect comes in many forms. It can be verbal, such as, you're stupid, you're an idiot, you would never amount to anything in life. Or it can be emotional. I never loved you, no one loves you, you're unlovable. Or it can be physical. Anytime a hand is laid on another person in anger or unloving words are spoken, that is disrespectful and ultimately unacceptable in a healthy relationship. 7. Lack of effective communication. Neither person knows how to communicate effectively. This comes in many forms. It can be a total withdrawal, which results in a lack of communication, or it can be in the form of yelling, screaming, name calling, which is technically communication, but horribly ineffective. What I will say is communication and comprehension is key. If one person is just screaming and yelling and the other person is shutting down, or vice versa, you're talking normal to somebody and they're just shutting down, you get nowhere. So again, communication is key to every relationship. And when I say comprehension, I mean just because you're communicating doesn't mean that they understand. So they have to understand what you are communicating. But that's for another day. We're going to talk about that another day. 8. Avoidance. Many times we only think of toxic relationship as being argumentative, abusive, or intense on some other level. However, there can also be stagnant and avoidant. If one or both people withdraw from the relationship and don't connect with the other person, that can turn toxic as well, especially if it goes on for a long time. 9. Controlling behavior. Perhaps one person doesn't want the other one to go out with their friends, see their family, or do anything else without them present. Maybe they need to track their every move on an app so they know where they are. They could even control what they wear or even what they eat. Any kind of controlling behavior such as this is a key ingredient for a toxic relationship. 10. Consistent criticism. One or both people are consistently criticizing anything and everything about the other person. It could be their looks, their intelligence, motivation, job, weight, education. I mean, the list can go on. You can name it. If criticism is flying around all the time, then you know you are in a toxic relationship. And the last one I'm going to give you guys, number 11, low self-esteem and self-worth. Everything that I've just mentioned are characteristics of a toxic relationship, and inevitably they will lead to low self-esteem and self-worth. When you are constantly being criticized, controlled, disrespected, blamed, you're sucked dry of your efforts, then anyone would end up feeling badly about themselves. Relationships should make you feel good about yourself, not bad. And this goes for friendships, relationship with your family, as well as romantic relationships. Can a toxic relationship turn healthy? Many people in toxic relationship want to make it better. The most common reason for this is because they claim to love the other person. Yes, I said claim. But think about it. Why do you love another person who does so much damage to you and your relationship? Love should feel good, not bad. Therefore, while it is possible to turn a toxic relationship healthy, it is not easy. And unfortunately, it's not very common either. However, that doesn't mean it can't be done. You got to check my next episode. See how I did that too? You got to check the next episode to see how to turn a toxic relationship, back healthy again.
Baby, 'cause all you gotta do is let me know if you're like I am, just don't keep me. Yeah. If you know this ain't what you want, then all you gotta do is I am, just don't keep me. If you don't want it no more, just go and take the weight of me. Yeah. If you know this ain't where you wanna be, 'cause I'm tired of the back and forth, baby. You gotta say something, baby.
Please check out TC's full album Rain. It's on digital platforms everywhere. And that's all we have for you today. I hope you enjoyed yourself on this episode of Create Your Own Story with Terrell Garnett. We'll catch you next time.